Welcome, Mr. Jeremy on Abstract Essay. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I missed?
Daniel, I would be happy to do so. I am the founder of Marrying America, which is a courting website for people who are looking for serious, committed relationships. That's a space that I think people are struggling to find their person. And this website is designed to give them a forum, a platform in which might develop that long-term relationship. So, having been a man who has been in a marriage for 40 years, I want everybody to experience how fulfilling and gratifying and satisfying, a long-term sustained healthy relationship can be. And in this current dating environment, I didn't think that there were enough opportunities for people to find that. So I created Marrying America for people to find that. So that's the short backstory as to why I am where I am as it relates to Marrying America.
And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Mr.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Jeremy. And today let's talk about
Yeah.
why courting is still works. So tell us. Let's start with a clear definition. In today's world of sweeping and casual dating, what fundamentally distinguishes courting from just a dating?
All right. The bottom line is, Daniel, that dating does not work because dating implies in this day and age a hookup culture. If I'm dating you, I just want to hook up with you. I have no long term vested interest in you. Marrying America is designed for you to court the person, meaning that I am intentful, I am intentional, and I want to have a long term relationship with you. We want everybody to come to a new interaction with the expectation that they're going to bring their best self, with the expectation and the desire that this interaction is going to lead to something long term. In the current culture that we are living in, it seemed to me that everybody was coming to it with, I just want to get to know you for right now, not for 5 years from now, not for 10 years from now, but I just want to get to know you for right now. So that's the difference between dating and courting, in our opinion. Dating is for right now, courting is, I want you to be my life partner. That's the fundamental difference.
Why do you think there's a renewed interest in the concept of courting now, in the era that often prioritize instant gratification and low commitment connections?
Well, I'll tell you why. Because people who have dated, they are exhausted, they are tired, they have worn out by going on multiple dates with multiple people and ending up being unfulfilled. They come back home from a date, going, okay, look, it may have been fun, it may have been good, but this isn't going anywhere. They come back home and they're going, oh my gosh, this was the worst thing ever. So, dating has given people a false opinion that they have a multiplicity of choices, that they have any number of hundreds of people to choose from in terms of forging a lifetime partnership with, which is 100% incorrect. You do not have hundreds of people in your potential lifetime partnership pool. You only have one or two. So the question is, how do you identify and connect with those one or two? And that is the difference between what we have now, which is everybody's dating everybody, nobody's happy, everybody's complaining, everybody's saying it's garbage, everybody's saying it's trash. How do we get back to a world where you have two or three bona fide legitimate options and you can lock in, you can zero in, you can bond with that one person in your courting pool of one or two as opposed to your dating pool of hundreds?
Dating pool of hundreds. Interesting, Mr. Jeremy. And a common criticism is that courting is old fashioned or restrictive. How do you respond to that? And how can it be adapted to empower modern independent individuals?
Well, courting is old fashioned and everybody wants to go back to the way it used to be. If you listen to people on social media, they're always pining about the good old days when men used to do X, women used to do Y. So everybody wants to go back to the way it used to be. Marrying America is allowing them a platform, a space to find like minded people who want to go back to the way it used to be. Nobody is happy, or okay, very few people are happy with the current state of dating as we now know it. So you will hear them saying, I want to go back to the way it was when my mom and dad were dating. I want to go back to the way it was when my grandparents were getting together, which was a courting environment, not a dating environment, meaning intentionality. You're showing up with a purpose, you're showing up with a mission. We are trying to provide, again, a platform for people who are purposeful, who have a mission, and who want to achieve a desired outcome. So yes, that's the difference between courting and dating. Everybody wants to get back to the way it used to be. We're giving them the platform to do it.
As its core, is courting more about a set of specific rules or is it a mindset? If it's a mindset, what is the key component, Mr. Jeremy?
It's all about mindset. It's all about mindset. Am I engaging with this man? Am I engaging with this woman because my objective is to get to a long term relationship, as opposed to dating, which is a short term objective? How do I get them to give me whatever I want today or tomorrow? So, courting is very different than dating. Courting is with the objective, is this person my potential life partner? And you approach these relationships very differently. If you are courting somebody from the standpoint of this person could be my lifelong partner, then your whole approach to how you interact with them is going to be very different than somebody who is just dating them or seeing them, in the here and now, knowing full well that 2 weeks from now, you won't be seeing them anymore. So, we're trying to facilitate a mindset where people are intentionally interacting with each other with the express intent of wanting to be in a long term relationship. That is the conversation that we are trying to drive because right now I think that's missing from the public discourse.
Let's talk about the psychology and benefits, Mr. Jeremy.
Sure,
Courting
absolutely.
emphasizes intentionality and slowness. From psychological standpoint, how does this deliberate pace actually build stronger foundation for a relationship than intense, fast-moving one?
Well, I think society nowadays have shown us that the hookup culture is not working for guys, it's not working for women. Okay, the culture of going out, meeting somebody, getting together with them on a short term basis just is not working. It doesn't lead to meaningful, sustained, long term relationships. So we are trying to position individuals to engage with other like minded individuals who understand that in order to have a sustained long term relationship, you need to get to know each other. You need to spend the time to understand that relationships are not perfect, that you are going to have to bring effort, you're going to have to bring work, there are going to be things about the individual that you don't like, but you can live with and accept it as okay, this is just who they are. And in the absence of that, Daniel, the reality of it is that this generation and the next generation, they are the last generations that will have access to legitimate relationships with real live human beings. We are moving to a world where we're going to be more involved with AI chatbots, AI robots, AI daily interaction with people that are not real. That is what is facing us 25, 35 years from now. So if you want to be in a healthy relationship with a real human being, your window of opportunity is right here, right now. And if you don't seize it, it's fast closing on you.
And Mr. Jeremy, in a culture that often focuses on physical intimacy early on, how does courting reframe the role of emotional and intellectual intimacy as the primary building blocks of attraction?
Yes. Your question is well stated, well articulated, because you're right. We have gotten to a world and a space where, short term pleasure is trumping a long term satisfaction. And nobody is better off for it. Not the girls and not the guys. Because you're right, these girls will go out to a bar or wherever they go. They'll meet a guy, they'll engage in a short term hookup, and 2 weeks later, they're feeling unfulfilled. The guys, the same thing. They'll go out to a bar, they'll meet a girl, they'll have a short term hookup, and 3 weeks later, they're going, okay, on to the next. At some point, that gets old. You get tired of engaging with random people and having random hookups, having random relationships, and you want something more substantial. Yeah, and that is where people are now finding themselves that, okay, I've done the random hookups for the last 5 years, I've done the short term thing, unfulfilling for the last 4 years. I now need my rock. I now need my foundation. I now need stability. I now need that guy that's consistently going to be there day after day. And same thing for men. They want that woman who is going to be consistently there for them day after day. They are having this generation has gotten burnt out on short-term hookups because they've realized that it's not fulfilling. It might feel right tonight, but next week there's remorse, there's buyer's regret, there's a lot of feelings about why did I do that. They don't want to do that on a consistent basis anymore. So we're trying to offer them a solution.
A solution indeed. And Mr. Jeremy, as a founder of marryingamerica.com, what are your short term and long term goals?
Short-term goals is to get everybody who wants to be in a long-term committed relationship onto the platform so they can start to meet each other. Long term goal is that 4 years from now, There are a slew of relationships, marriages that have been, forged, or people who have met each other on the website. So short term, we want to get people who want a long term, serious, monogamous type relationship to come together on our platform. And the longer term, get married, have kids, and live the traditional life that we have known our parents and our grandparents to have enjoyed. That's the objective.
Good luck to your goals, Mr. Jeremy, and looking forward for more success. And what would be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
My number one advice would be get on the website. There's no cost to doing so. You have access to 100% of the features and functionality. So it's low hanging fruit. At a minimum, get on the website. Then, number two, engage with others on the website. Okay, because the days of meeting somebody in the wild, that's just not going to happen. Well, okay, it can happen, but the likelihood of meeting your person in the wild, those days are over. It doesn't happen like that anymore. In certain and in rare circumstances, it does. But the only way to meet people nowadays is online. So you have no choice. The only question is, what online app or website are you going to spend your time on? I am suggesting to anybody who is listening to us, at a minimum, get on Marrying America, because there is no cost and you have 100% access to 100% of the features, and you get your first three matches at no cost to you. So get on it, see how it works for you, and we'll take it from there.
Thank you for that advice, Mr. Jeremy. Beyond just leading to a relationship, what are the personal benefits of going through a courting process? How does it change you even in a particular courtship doesn't work out?
Well, I mean, there are no guarantees in life, right? But if you go into a situation desiring a certain outcome, you're likely to put more effort into it. So if you meet somebody on a courting website and you're desiring a certain outcome, you're likely to be more intentional. You're likely to be more understanding. You're likely to be more willing, to do some things that you need to do in order to have a great. You see, Daniel, it used to be back in the day, we needed each other to survive. And I mean that literally. We needed each other to survive life, to sustain life. Fortunately enough, technology has advanced. Women have entered the workplace where we don't need each other to survive anymore. And that's what has made relationships harder to sustain, because we no longer have that need. That survival depended on sustaining a relationship. So therefore, it's become very laissez-faire. It's become very laid back. It's become very casual. Okay, I don't need you to survive. I don't need you to to get from today to tomorrow. So people have become very casual about this, and it has caused them great distress not having that singular person in their life that they can lean on. And that is what we need to get back to, is having people understand that you're not no longer in a relationship for survival, but you're in a relationship because it makes the quality of your life significantly better. That is a takeaway.
From your observation, Mr. Jeremy, or experience, what is the ultimate payoff? How does a relationship that begins with courting differ in a long term resilience in that?
Because again, how you go into something is your approach to a relationship. if you meet somebody today and you know that you have no interest in them tomorrow, your approach is going to be very different than if you meet somebody today and you have every intention of being in their lives 5 years from now, if all goes well. So, the initial approach in how you get together, it absolutely means something, you know, from day one. You know what I mean? It's no different than going for a job interview that is a temporary job versus a permanent job. Your whole approach to it is going to be very different. So if people are getting together from day one, knowing that we both want the same thing, which is a long-term relationship, the amount of work, input, desire, and effort that you bring to it is going to be very different than a relationship that you meet somebody tonight and hey, I'm going back to wherever I came from, in a week. So this is very short term, very temporary. The effort, the willingness, the desire you put into it is going to be very different. So, I mean, we want people who are intentional and desiring a certain outcome to get together.
So, Mr. Jeremy, if we could leave our audience with one final thought on why this time tested approach is not just a relic, but profoundly effective path to finding lasting love today, and what would it be?
What I would tell anybody then, is that this generation and the next generation are the last generations that will be engaging in what we know as traditional relationships. Okay? Because technology is evolving at a pace where AI and AI robots are going to replace traditional human interactions for better or for worse. Okay? So I would tell anybody, if you want to experience a traditional relationship, if you want your kids to see a traditional relationship, if you want, your future grandkids to see a traditional relationship, then it is incumbent upon us to engage in that relationship right now. Because 30 years from now, people are going to be engaged with AI robots and AI technology, and they won't care because they will not have known what it's like to engage with a real human being. So they will not miss it. People who have engaged with real humans, they will miss it. But the generation that's coming now, and one that's coming, 20 years from now, they will not know what it's like to engage on a daily basis and live with a real human. So they won't miss it. There's nothing to miss. They're going to have the AI robot in the classroom teaching them. They're going to have the AI person, checking them out at the grocery store. So interacting with real humans is going to be something that is people are going to not have to deal with anymore. So I say to anybody, the boat has left the dock. Get on board. If you want to have a real human in your life, now is the time to do it, because 20 years from now, that opportunity will no longer be. That's what I'd want your audience to take away from this.
Mr. Jeremy Nelson, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. Thank you, thank you,
Thank
thank
you, sir.
you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, so can you please invite our listeners to support your business itself, your advocacy, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
I would advise all your visitors or your viewers or your listeners to stop by marryinamerica.com. And if they are not in the market, or if they are in a relationship, that's fine. But any friend that they know or they care about, tell them to join the website. It's absolutely free. They have access to 100% of the features. They get their first week, matches absolutely free. So there is no downside. There is no, it's low hanging fruit. Join the website, see what it does for you. If you want to have a real person in your life anytime in the near future.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Jeremy because if you support him for sure, more and more empowering, well, marrying America will come. So, Mr. Jeremy, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Danny. I appreciate it. It was I enjoyed this a lot, and all the best to you.
More to come, people. See you soon.
Okay, sorry.